long, so I should just say bye, but...
On social media. You knew who the president was fighting against. These people hired mercenaries to kill the president and his family due to the projects for roads, electricity, drinking water supply, organization of the referendum and elections, for the final abolition of political transitions, and his family due to the projects for roads, electricity, drinking water supply, organization of the referendum and elections, for the final abolition. The president has always believed in institutions and stability. It's not clear who paid for the mercenaries who allegedly carried out the attack, many of them former members of the Colombian military. But while that investigation continues, so does the political uncertainty.
The idea of you listening to this, the thought of you on the other side of the line.
We have technicians, he says, working with police to help mount an anti-kidnapping task force. But it takes time. We are working, he says, and we never stop fighting against insecurity and kidnappings. It's the country's constitutional crisis that now has the attention of Washington. More than 60 members of Congress want Moise to reconsider his June 27th election, taking several referendums to voters for major changes to the nation's 1987 Constitution. One potential change includes allowing members of the Haitian diaspora to vote and even run for office.
Sans diaspora.
Without the diaspora, it will be difficult, if not impossible, to do it without them, he says. For the new road we have to take in development, for changes, and to create wealth and security.
Gentlemen, distinguished delegates, allow me to start off by hailing the election of His Excellency Mr. Volkan Bozkir, Minister of Foreign Affairs of Turkey, as President of the 75th session of the General Assembly. This unanimous vote is testimony to recognition of his qualities and a guarantee of the success of the work of this session of the General Assembly. I also like...
Parce que les résultats sont clairs.
Just as you were saying, we've been going around Haiti and talking to people. People are still in temporary settlements, living in tents, some of them. There's a healthcare crisis. Food insecurity is on the rise. 10 years later, whose fault is it? Is it the international community? Is it the Haitian government? Who's to blame?
Parce que on ne doit pas essayer de mélanger l'Haïti post-séisme avec la crise socio-économique que nous sommes en train de vivre en Haïti. La crise socio-économique est une crise permanente. Parce que cet État qu'on a là aujourd'hui, c'est un État prédateur qui est contrôlé par certains oligarques corrompus qui cherchent à faire la mainmise, en fait, sur certains secteurs clés du développement. Parce que l'État est capturé. Parce que moi-même, l'expérience que je viens d'avoir après mes 2 ans et 11 mois à la tête de cet État, je dois vous dire que l'État est capturé.
But how do you do this? There's certainly people that do not want to lose power, that they do not want to lose their benefits. How do you reform the Haitian state?
Et c'est ce que nous sommes en train de faire maintenant. L'opinion publique aujourd'hui demande un autre pays, un autre système. Et heureusement, c'est moi qui suis à la tête du pays aujourd'hui. Moi-même, je suis prêt pour ce nouveau système.
After a quiet weekend, Haiti is expected to erupt in a new round of violence today. So far, it has not happened, but there may be more trouble as the day goes on. Last week, there were clashes with police, fiery roadblocks, and rampant looting. Haitians say they're fed up with the poverty and corruption crushing their country. The average Haitian somehow gets by on little or no income. The unemployment rate is high. There are never-ending lineups for scarce gasoline. People living near the presidential palace have no electricity or water. And the healthcare system is so dysfunctional, there are scenes like this. A woman giving birth in a hospital parking lot. The CBC's Paul Hunter is in Haiti's capital, Port-au-Prince.
Haiti's in chaos. On Monday, at least one man was killed as thousands of Haitians confronted police, building roadblocks, throwing rocks, and burning tires around the capital of Port-au-Prince. Officers responded with tear gas and rubber bullets. Protesters were answering this call posted on Twitter by an opposition leader. He told them to keep the pressure on until President Jovenel Moïse is forced to resign. Haitians first rose up 6 weeks ago to protest a fuel shortage, which exacerbated an already dire economic situation. Aid money for the 2010 earthquake has dried up. There are constant food shortages. High inflation is making basic goods more and more expensive, and the currency is tanking. On top of that, Haitians are angry that government members haven't faced justice for allegedly misappropriating aid. Most importantly, President Moïse, who was implicated in a report last year. He denies any wrongdoing and refuses to step down.
We need a lot more information, but it's very worrisome about the state of Haiti.
But the idea of you listening to this, the thought of you on the other side of the line, I can't hang up.
Assassination of President Jovenel Moïse is going to have on the country?
Well, all hell is going to break loose. I think, the U.S. Which holds a predominant weight in Haiti, will try to bring about some kind of transitional government. The streets, though, are going to be very hot.